Be a man. These words used to mean something. Now they start arguments because somewhere along the way, discipline became toxic, strength became outdated, and respect started sounding like arrogance. But the truth is, we didn't evolve past strength. We just got addicted to comfort. We stopped doing the hard things and then wondered why we feel empty. We call it burnout, but most of the time it's just boredom dressed up as self-care. You don't fight dragons anymore. You fight distraction. You fight self-doubt. You fight comfort. Every time you avoid pain, you lose power. Every time you scroll instead of act, you shrink a little. Not because you're weak, but because you've been rewired. Modern life trains you to chase instant relief instead of lasting progress. And the more you give in, the harder it becomes to stop. That's the real dungeon, your own brain chemistry, the endless cycle of easy hits, dopamine, avoidance, numbness, and like Sun Jinwoo, no one's coming to save you from it. His dungeon was made of stone. Yours is made of habits. But the law is the same. There's only one way out. You fight. Because real strength isn't built by avoiding pain. It's built by learning to work with it. That's what solo leveling psychology is really about. It's not fantasy, it's neuroscience. It's the process of rewiring yourself through repetition, pressure, and feedback. Jinwoo didn't escape his dungeon. He became strong enough to live inside it. So no, being a man isn't about domination. It's about direction. It's about learning to stay calm in chaos and disciplined in a world that worships distraction. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer excuses. Let's be real. Most people aren't tired. They're under-challenged. We've built routines that feel productive but aren't actually progress. Wake up, check your phone, scroll until your dreams feel irrelevant. You tell yourself you're resting, but there's a difference between rest and escape. And the more you escape, the less your mind trusts you to follow through. According to Dr. Judson Brewer at Brown University, our brains are habit machines. They chase short-term relief even when it creates long-term pain. Every time you give into that, "I'll do it later" voice, you're reinforcing avoidance loops. It's not weakness, it's wiring. And the only way to change it is to train against it deliberately. That's what psychologists call voluntary discomfort. You choose small challenges on purpose, not to suffer, but to reprogram your reaction to stress. Think of it as mental weightlifting, cold showers, early mornings, focused work blocks. You're not punishing yourself, you're upgrading your tolerance for life. Remember in solo leveling when Jinwoo's bleeding and crawling through the dungeon floor? Everyone else is screaming or running to the exit. He's terrified, but he stays. That's discipline in its purest form. Not confidence, not courage, just refusal. He wasn't born different. He just stopped negotiating with his weakness. You ever sit in front of your laptop knowing exactly what you need to do and somehow still end up watching videos about how to focus better? Yeah, that's a dungeon right there. The monsters aren't outside. They're in your browser history. And no, clearing your cache isn't character development. Discipline isn't about feeling ready. It's about proving you can act when you don't. Because every moment you move through resistance, your brain learns something new. I don't need comfort to survive. So here's your first quest. Pick one hard thing and do it daily. Nothing huge, nothing heroic, just something uncomfortable. Wake up earlier, finish the task before scrolling. Go for a run. When your mind screams later, every act of discipline is a micro upgrade to your identity. And if you do it long enough, your habits stop asking for permission, they just perform. Discipline doesn't make life easier. It makes you capable. And that's the first real level of manhood. Not dominance, not motivation, but consistency. You can talk about discipline all you want, but at some point, the body calls your bluff. Most people say they want to be stronger. What they really mean is, I want to feel confident without doing the work that confidence requires. We've become allergic to effort. We avoid sweat like it's embarrassment. We say things like, gym culture is toxic. But let's be honest, we just don't want to look weak. But here's the truth. If you can't control your body, you'll never fully control your mind. Because your body is your first instrument of discipline. And right now, most people are playing out of tune. According to Dr. John Rady of Harvard, consistent training literally remodels your brain's prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for focus, confidence, and emotional regulation. Translation, when you train your body, you train your decision-making. Every rep, every run, every painful set tells your brain we can handle more than we thought. That's not motivation. That's science. You're building the wiring for resilience, one push-up at a time. That's why people who train consistently seem calmer. They've learned to metabolize stress instead of dramatize it. Think about Jinwoo, broken, weaker than ever. The dungeon nearly kills him, but instead of complaining, he trains push-ups, squats, pain. No applause, no shortcuts. Each time he pushes past exhaustion, his body changes, and so does his posture. He's not chasing validation anymore, he's chasing capacity. That's the difference. Weak men want recognition. Strong men want results. And yeah, skipping leg day doesn't count as emotional balance. The gym is your life simulator. You lift, you fail, you rest, you adapt. That's not just exercise, that's exposure therapy for existence. And if you skip it, your stress tolerance doesn't just shrink, your confidence does too. So when life hits, it feels heavier than it is. You panic under weights you should have been training for. Strength isn't vanity, it's self-respect in motion. Every time you train, you prove to your nervous system, I'm safe under pressure. I can survive effort, pain, and uncertainty. You can't buy that in a self-help book. You have to sweat for it. You want to change your mental state? Start with your physical one. Because your brain can't believe in a version of you your body hadn't met yet. So train, not to post, not to flex. Train to remember you're capable of more than comfort allows. Move daily, lift something heavy, breathe through resistance. And when your mind screams, stop, smile, because that's the moment it starts to grow. You don't have to bench your trauma. But if trauma had a weight class, some of us would be world champions. You just have to show up consistently. The body you build isn't decoration, it's data. And every rep is a receipt that says, I'm stronger than I was yesterday. You ever notice how the strongest people rarely look angry? That's not because they don't feel emotion. It's because they've learned to own it. Most guys today are emotionally hijacked. One bad comment, one delay, one rejection, and suddenly it's the end of the world. We spiral, overthink, overreact. It's not weakness, it's just bad training. Nobody ever taught us how to stay calm, only how to man up or let it out. And now we're caught somewhere in the middle, angry but unsure why. We build a culture that worships expression but ignores regulation. You're told to feel everything. Sure. Feel it. But if every emotion controls you, who's actually in charge? Modern neuroscience backs this up. Dr. James Gross at Stanford found that emotional regulation, not intelligence, not motivation, is the biggest predictor of long-term resilience. The men who pause before reacting literally reshape their brain. They strengthen the part that controls judgment and composure. So calm isn't a personality, it's a skill. And just like any skill, it takes reps. When you stay composed under stress, your brain reads the situation as survivable. That keeps your logic online and your panic offline. That's not luck, that's training. Think of Jinwoo, walking through the battlefield of monsters. Screams, blood, chaos. But his eyes don't move. He's still, focused, controlled. That moment isn't about power. It's about peace. He's mastered the storm inside. That's the final form of discipline and strength, emotional mastery. You ever argue with someone who stays calm the whole time? It's infuriating, right? They're not enlightened. They just ran out of energy to argue, which, honestly, might be enlightenment. Life works the same way. Most people chase whatever's loudest. Dopamine, drama, distractions. But calm people, they're dangerous because you can't control someone who controls themselves. We think power looks like rage, but power looks like restraint. It's walking away when you could destroy someone. It's staying composed when chaos demands panic. That's what separates those who merely survive from those who command their reality. Calm isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength because anyone can lift weights. Not everyone can lift their emotions. So, next time you feel triggered, don't react. Breathe. Count to 3. Remind yourself, calm is control. You're not ignoring emotion. You're mastering it. And like any muscle, that control gets stronger every time you practice. So yeah, be strong, be disciplined. But if you want real power, learn to stay calm in the fire. Because calm men don't chase control, they are control. The goal was never to impress anyone. It was to become someone you could respect when no one's watching. Most people chase validation, likes, applause, approval, but that kind of respect fades fast. The kind that lasts? It's built when your actions finally match your values. When you stop breaking promises to yourself. That's when you start walking differently. Not louder, but heavier. Because real respect feels like stillness. That's why Sung Jinwoo never brags. He doesn't need to. Every move says, I've been through hell and I don't need to explain it. People like that don't demand respect. They radiate it. You can't fake that kind of peace. So live in a way your future self would thank you for. Work harder than you want to. Say less than you need to. Show up when no one's watching. Because when you master discipline, strength, and calm, you stop needing to prove anything. You become proof. The world doesn't need louder men. It needs disciplined ones. Men who can suffer, stand, and stay silent. Because when you master yourself, you don't ask for respect. You become it. Be a man.